How's it going, Critter Family? Hope you all are doing well. Today we're going over a video by Joel Beckman of Beckman's Dog Training. This time he's making an in-home visit, which I have never seen him do before. Can you fix a dog in 1 hour? Testing my skills with a time limit, people and dog reactivity. So, for the first few seconds I've seen of this, he is claiming that reactivity and barking and being, the fact that the dog will bite people, they're reactive to people and dogs and they're aggressive and all this. He says that you've been told that it will take forever to fix. I've never told anybody it'll take forever. I tell them it takes time. How long? I can't give you a specific amount of time. It depends on how consistent you are working with the dog and following the method that I show you, which doesn't involve force, pain, fear, pain compliance, or intimidation. So let's just see what he has to do, what he has to say for his intro, and then we will see how he gets into it with the dog.
I'm going to somebody's house. The dog is super reactive when people come over. It will bite people. It's also reactive on walks, has almost no doggy friends, and freaks out at the window whenever a dog walks by.
Okay, I've worked with dogs that have done all of this as well.
You've been told that all these things, these 4 issues, these 4 aggressive or reactive issues this dog has, you have been told this takes forever and you need tons of management.
Has anybody actually been told that it takes forever? I don't know. I don't think any trainer worth what they're worth, who knows their worth, would ever tell anybody that this is going to take quote unquote forever.
Management. I reject
management,
that
yes.
I think that I can do this quickly. I think that you can do this quickly. There's no rule that says aggression has to take forever to get rid of. And I'm
no, nobody ever said that there was a rule that says that aggression takes forever to get rid of. What it is what I tell people is it depends on how long your dog has been practicing this behavior. It will depend on how long it'll take for them to recover from it or counter condition that reaction.
That myth today, I hope, when I go to this person's house. People coming over, this dog will bite. Does it take years? Does it take months? Does it take weeks? Does it take an hour? We're going to see right now. It shouldn't
take an hour.
I'm going for 99.9%, and I'm going to proof it with other people coming over. That's what I'm going for. I'm going for this dog being friends with Prince in this dog's own backyard. That's what I'm going for. Am I going to get
absolutely there? Ridiculous. I do not bring my dog over to then make the other dog become friends with my dog. I don't care. When I brought my dog over, when I had my Shiba, when he was around, he would help me rehabilitate dogs that were reactive to other dogs, that were attacked by other dogs, that would attack other dogs, all that jazz. And he would help me not by ever coming in close contact with the other dog. He didn't have to, but just by being a good, well-balanced canine citizen that would just exist, and the other dog could see that he was not a threat, and that no matter what he did, that the other dog was safe, because I wouldn't allow him to go off leash running up to the other dog. They didn't play. They didn't need to play, because I don't think every dog, that's not my priority, is for the dog to make friends. You're not going to accomplish a history of traumatic behavior or trauma in general. You're not going to fix that in an hour. You shouldn't. Otherwise, it's called flooding.
No, I'm going for 99. I'd be happy with 60% reduction in 1 hour from these behaviors. If I can do it in 1 hour at 60%, you can get your dog 60% down in 1 week. Then the second week, you can get to 90%. There's no rule that
He's just throwing out numbers.
Bunch of trainers, bunch of people have been saying you can't, that this takes forever and you need
Nobody
to
said it takes forever. That is him putting words in our mouths. That is him saying that because we say it takes time, you're not entitled to a quick fix. You're not. You took the time to screw up the dog, and not necessarily the dog is screwed up or there's something wrong with them, but you took the time that, unknowingly, and you may not have meant to spend that much time causing your dog to be reactive, but it's going to take that much time at least, or half of that time, or double that time, whatever it is. If you work at the dog's pace to recover or, counter condition that response to triggers.
Thousands of dollars, I reject that premise. And I have 2 programs, the Beckman Aggression Program, if you have an aggressive or...
All right, let's move on.
Watch and do that with your own dog, and I promise you can get there just like I'm going to get there today with this
Wow.
dog and with this owner.
So he is actively telling you, do what I do. He's not saying leave it to a professional. He's not saying don't try this at home. He is actually telling you, try this at home, do this at home. He is putting so many people at risk. That is dangerous.
Hi, Becca.
It's a pretty strong screen there.
How are you? Good. All right. Here's what we're going to do, okay? It's Maggie, right? You're going to put your hand up to the screen like this. And we're going to
He's going to call. Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah, the dog is going to redirect on the owner. So the owner bit her. So he hasn't even stepped a foot in the house. He's already gotten the owner bitten by her own dog. We're going to go through a little bit of what he does, and then I'm going to go back and show you what I would do.
Are you okay?
Very, very
The thinking is, so we can't shake hands, but the handshake is basically saying you have accepted me into your home.
Okay.
And anything
It doesn't matter
after
to the dog.
handshake, which I was trying to do there with that, anything after that she does towards me after the boss has accepted me
It's not the
and
boss has accepted me, you dummy.
is into the home, anything after that is completely unacceptable.
Okay.
And any corrections we give, any grabs we give, anything we do, you do, is acceptable because you
No.
have accepted.
He's trying to say that excuse away his abusive technique that, because you said I'm okay, we don't care about what the dog thinks. We don't care how the dog feels. He says that all the time. I don't care. I don't care how the dog feels, what the dog wants. It's all about him, the human, me. Narcissism 101. So let's see what he
into
does.
your life. I
So
know.
he tossed a treat.
I know you're the best girl. You're the best
We didn't
girl.
see, we're just in the house now, by the way. We didn't see how he entered the house, how far away the dog was, before he got here to come sit down.
You're the best girl.
One thing I will say is I like that
Big
he is
chunks of
using...
Yeah, I'm her favorite.
Okay, that doesn't help. But I did like the fact that he was using food as a reinforcer because he knows that if this dog has a bite history, he can't just go in there mumbo jumbo and be all stupid. He knows, he's smart enough to know that he has to use a little bit of positive reinforcement to make some kind of progress with this dog. So that was the one right thing he did. The one good thing that I think I've seen out of how many videos I've done of him that he shares for other people to do. Remember, he's telling you to do all this.
Ooh, I like the backup.
I don't want the backup. I don't want a dog to back up from me.
Oh, hi. Hi, Becca.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
It's good to see you again.
He's working fast.
Okay, we don't care about reinforcing the barking. So we're
Well, at this point,
working
you're
on
not
how-
reinforcing the barking because you're, or in my opinion, you're not, because the barking is coming from a fearful dog. So you're not reinforcing the fear. I'm glad that he did make that point to say, hey, we're not reinforcing the barking, or he says right now, we don't care that we're reinforcing the barking. I don't think you're reinforcing the barking.
Pavlovian level, not a operant conditioning level. So we're trying to just associate people and knocks with good stuff, even though we are technically reinforcing an incorrect behavior. We don't care.
Who cares about an incorrect behavior? There's no correct or incorrect. It is about your priorities. So he comes in, he starts knocking on the door and desensitizing her to the sound and all of that. There's a pretty picture of a horse over here, but they got a big old bit in their mouth. Sorry. I know, I'm sidetracked, but so he comes in, he sits for a second, gives her big chunks of chicken. Then he starts going over, the next step he does is starts knocking on the door. The first part, what I would do is I would have, the dog, if there's any history of them biting people, then I would have this dog on a harness and a leash, and I wouldn't sit that close to them personally if I know they've bitten people before. I would be across the room, usually at the door is where I stand, but I want to be careful about this lighting background because this is what the dog sees. If this is what the camera sees, if the dog were at this angle okay, I'll take it back. The dog may not necessarily see him like this, but if they were at this angle, they see him like this. They can't see his facial features, light and being backlit and overlit. That and shadows, that is a big deal to animals and people alike. You know, people think I'm nitpicky or I'm so focused on details, but these things matter. So if I have a fearful dog, I want to make sure, I would close the door and I would make sure that, there's not a bunch of light in the way. And then I would just stand there. Well, I would probably kneel down and then I would just look away. I would be sideways to the dog. And then I would just toss little bits of dehydrated liver or whatever the dog's favorite treat is. And I would just start tossing it. And my goal is for the dog to stop barking. And every time the dog is quiet, then I can move, I can sidestep just a little bit more. I expect the dog to start barking again. And I tell the owner that. And usually within 99% of the time, my prediction is correct. So if I stand up, the dog barks again. So I don't say the dog will bark. I say the dog may bark. And if I do it right and I stand up from that kneeling position, then the dog is quiet. I toss him a treat. Then I start sidestepping. If that's too much, then I get down, I kneel down again, or I'll take a step back to where I was. And the whole time I'm avoiding eye contact because eye contact is a very intimidating behavior.
Hi.
So he's coming in
Good to
way
see you
too much
again.
pressure, way too excited, a lot of pressure. So now we move into the bedroom where he corners himself. It looks like he's holding eye contact with the dog. The dog is now muzzled. Lots of light.
Liz, come on in. You're fine.
This is a
Yes.
result of my knee.
Mom, please come up here and shake my hand.
No, that's very, 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 I think it's very dumb in my opinion. The dog wasn't ready in the den. The dog is certainly not ready in the bedroom. And I would not corner myself like that because the dog has the advantage, which is totally fine, but I wouldn't have, if the dog is going to be on the bed, I'm not going to be in this room with them because the dog, I want everybody to have even play. If the dog is on the bed, they may feel like they have more, they have the higher ground, which is fine. You can give them more confidence. If they want confidence, that's fine. But I worry about that when I have a reactive dog. I wouldn't worry about shaking hands with people yet because I've worked with this very case before, or a case very similar to this before, where any touching of the mom couldn't go into her daughter's room without her dog trying to nip at her. Her dog was a very big German Shepherd. And the mom couldn't go in there because the mom would just walk in there like it was nothing. So she would go walking in there, she would touch the daughter or do whatever, they would, hug each other and say hi and how do you do and all that. And the dog would go nip her. And so I said, okay, you need to slowly walk your way in and walk your way out. You don't just walk up to your daughter in here. Although, yes, it's your room and your house and all that. They weren't upset about that. They didn't mind taking the time it takes. And after about 5 minutes of that, she was able to go calmly and sit down on her daughter's bed. And then she got up and she walked out of the room. And then after 10 minutes, she would go in there, sit on the bed and touch her daughter's shoulder and then go about her business. And we were talking and all that. So that's just what I see and what I would do.
Go shake his hand.
Okay, you have accepted.
So the dog is already distracted by the muzzle that they're not necessarily
into
paying
your
attention.
room. You have accepted us into your life.
The dog
And
doesn't care.
anything this
None of that
dog
affects
does
the dog. The dog is so focused on the muzzle that they don't care that you're shaking hands with this
towards us
person.
Okay.
is not okay at all. Okay?
Okay.
Because you are my friend.
Okay.
And I am your friend. Okay?
No, it doesn't matter. The dog doesn't care. You can accept boyfriends, cousins, husbands, family into the house, and just because you say that it's okay doesn't mean the dog is going to say it's okay. The dog may think it's okay for you. Hi, baby girl. Oh. Dog may say it's okay for you and this person, but the dog doesn't necessarily mean it's okay for them. All right, sorry. Allie moved, so I'm closer to the mic.
Okay.
All right, dog is going to come by in a minute. Here's what you're going to do. She's going to freak out. She can hear the dog most likely. She's going to freak out.
So he is doing
You
all
are
of
going
this
to sit.
in one session. I would work on these one at a time. Each one would be a session. or we would work on a couple of these things, and I would say, now I'm not going to fix your dog. These are things that you need to work on in your own time, over time, to, over the next couple of weeks or a month or however long it takes, however consistent you are and how often you train. You need to do this to get the results that he's trying to get in an hour.
No, and
That's
you're
not
going to
doing
grab her and you're going to bring her over
Ooh,
here.
no,
and you are
don't
gonna
say
sit
that.
her down, and she's going to feel your strength.
Okay.
That without the muzzle, this dog will absolutely bite this woman. That is the dumbest excuse of a training advice I've ever heard. That is so dangerous. And he's telling you to do this to your dog. Ellie, you're in the way, baby girl. You're in the way. No, I know you're cute. No, don't go back there. All right, so Ellie finally got her rubs and left.
You're going to sit her down like this, and she's going to feel your strength, and then you're going to go, okay, and you're going to release her, and you're going to say, you don't have to say this out loud, but you're going to say, go freak out again.
Yeah.
I could care less. Yeah. What's criteria? I think
You
barking.
don't want her to freak out because you don't want her to practice that type of behavior. Every time she practices freaking out, then you're moving too quickly, and you're not able to teach her how to be calm. You're just correcting the behavior so she stops reacting outwardly, but you're not doing anything for the emotional state of mind the dog is in when she sees a dog or she sees a trigger.
Getting your paws up there.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay,
that's the only criteria. Okay. Everything else is totally acceptable. Here we go. Ready, wait,
No.
and grab.
Oh, okay. So first off, he didn't say clap your hands. So the dog is already used to that. It sounds like. The dog moved away very quickly. So if you were going to use a positive punishment, that would be enough. The dog got on the bed. They say, okay, I think everything else beyond, I don't think that's even necessary at all. But everything else beyond that is certainly unnecessary.
No.
Because now you're
Sit.
dragging her off the bed.
Good job. And let her go.
Scruffing her.
Wait till she does again now.
Nope.
Now you're going to have to chase your dog down and you're going to make her hand shy. Without this muzzle, this dog will eventually bite their owner.
And let her go. Wait for it.
So without him there, she's already pawing at the muzzle again. Without him there, she will probably hold on to this dog a lot longer than she needs to. So she's bad at timing anyway. And he's giving her the excuse to be aggressive.
And move your body. Okay. I know.
See, the dog doesn't
sucks,
care.
but...
They only care about the muzzle.
Oh my God.
That's not good. That's not impressive. The dog just says, I'm leaving here because everything else in here sucks. Everything is terrible in here. When I'm in this room, I have this crazy guy. There's a camera here, which has like a magic eyeball that never blinks. My mom's telling me no. Okay, so I'm just going to leave. That's not progress.
Today?
The dog is not dealing with anything.
You'll make a friend today?
And I'm sure he's holding eye contact with her.
Okay, so the petting is probably something you don't want to do ever when people come over.
Okay, got it.
That is, what do you mean ever? Ever? Like forever, ever? So he always talks about that, we talk about in absolutes, that it's going to take forever, or it's all or nothing. He talks in absolutes. You can absolutely pet your dog as a way of positive reinforcement if your dog takes that as positive reinforcement, especially while she's watching Prince, because she's not I am fine with people being over and her petting her dog when her dog is not growling or barking. If the dog appreciates that, that can be a form of positive reinforcement for the dog over using food.
She just, that was the longest stare. The minute you touch her, she goes to me. It's a very powerful stimulus. Okay. The best.
Then don't stare her in the eyes, and she won't look at you in the eyes.
Best thing in the world is the confident. That's your friend. Like,
no, it's
happy,
not. She doesn't care about your dog, dude.
I'm the boss. And let Prince, let him go.
Oh, just immediately. So he has his dog. So he has his dog on a head halter because he can't even control his own dog in a new dog's backyard. God, this dog is such a mutant. I don't mean to be mean, but like that deep barrel chest just looks, and the short little body, and he doesn't look healthy.
Oh my goodness.
So he's still intimidating this dog. She wants to play. This is bad. You know, that's why I don't like dogs to play
I
on leash.
know. Don't be mean to
She's
him.
getting corrected. She's
He's a
not
nice
being
boy.
mean.
Oh. 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 I know. Oh. Oh. Are you gonna get him?
Ouch.
Are you
Poor
gonna
Prince getting his face ripped off by the damn head halter.
So it's
If I'm going to have these guys meet, I'm going to have both of them muzzled, and I'm going to let them go. And so that way, or let them drag their leash. So that way, they're not going to. Hopefully, there's nothing to get caught up on. I would have them more of an open area as much as you can. I mean, we don't know how big this lady's backyard is, but, or front yard for that matter. But I would try to have them in as open of a space as possible, and I would like to give them as much of their leash as possible. And if they're going to be playing like that, then if you have a fenced-in yard, then I will let them both go, and both would be muzzled for safety.
being kind of happy about it. I don't love those little nips. What are we gonna do? Get rid of those?
Well, she's a cattle dog, or she looks like she's part cattle dog, and this is the first time she's met your dog. Your dog might be too stimulating. Her tail is tucking under her body. She's worried about the muzzle.
This is like as hard as
She's
it gets.
not
The
really
only thing harder is
learning
literally
a whole
doing
lot.
this in that room.
Oh, this poor thing.
This is good, I believe. She's making a friend. She's meeting a dog.
Okay, so
on
her tail
turf.
comes out.
She's getting
Her tail goes up, and it starts wagging as she goes and sniffs
know a
Prince. So she's
dog.
getting more stimulated because
Lizzie,
a wagging
come
tail doesn't mean that she's happy.
close, please.
He's not comfortable with her sniffing him because she nipped him before, or she tried to. So that was a very good greeting. I think that was very fair. Especially with it's nice to see it's nice to see Prince not be as comfortable and acting all dominant and pushy as he usually is. So for once, she's the one who's kind of intimidating him.
Come here. Come on.
And I wouldn't be working with her without already conditioning a muzzle. So I'm not going to go there and then put a muzzle on because she's not going to be focusing on me. She's going to be focused on the muzzle. I want to, if I'm working with someone and I know that they have a dog with a bite history with humans or dogs that we're working with dogs, then I will have them get a muzzle 2 weeks ahead of time and start. Yes, 2 weeks. God, people are like, And I will ask them to start conditioning the muzzle, and I'll send them a video of it. A lot of times I send them a video that Kiko Pup does about conditioning your dog to a muzzle and making sure they're comfortable and this and that. And yes, 2 weeks. I mean, geez Louise. Again, you're not entitled to quick results just because your dog is reactive and you're sick and tired of it. Your dog is sick and tired of it too. So when the dog is conditioned to the muzzle and they are comfortable, then that's when I will come in and we will start training where they're not focused on getting the muzzle on. They don't feel trapped. They feel like it's just a normal part of their life. Another collar, another harness, whatever.
Girl, that's a good girl. Yeah. I know, Princey.
Prince is cute when he's not being a butthead. Which is just, the life he lives from being raised by this crazy lunatic. So he moved away, good. She wasn't sure, he moved away on his own, excellent. He trusts this dog a good bit by leaving his butt, exposing his butt. It doesn't look, I don't know, maybe it's just me. It doesn't look like he's muscular, but it doesn't look, it looks like this is like, you can cut this off and this is one dog's body and this is another dog's body. It doesn't look like there's as much muscle tone as there could be there, but I don't know. I don't know anything about a dog conformation, so don't come for me.
Best girl. I know you're a good girl. I know.
So I would be careful about petting. You see before, as her, especially patting, this is all pressure he's putting on her.
Girl.
He's stimulating her. He's taking advantage of it. I wouldn't let Prince go pee on somebody else's, tree like this. If he's going to go pee in the grass and, you have dogs over, it's going to happen. But I wouldn't let him just go start marking on somebody's tree like this. That's just me. But as he's petting her, it's stimulation. He's putting a lot of pressure on her.
I know.
Now, she moved into him, showing that she was more accepting of it. But, as a quote goes from Call of the Wild and the Man in the Red Sweater, this is in chapter 1. Again and again, as he looked at each brutal performance, the lesson was driven home to Buck. A man with a club was a lawgiver, a master to be obeyed, not though not necessarily conciliated. Of this, Buck was never guilty, though he did see beaten dogs that fawned upon the man and wagged their tails and licked his hand. Also, he saw one dog that would neither conciliate nor obey, finally killed in the struggle for mastery. So, although he didn't beat this dog, we don't know exactly what happened in between those cuts. He could have given her leash pops. He could have given her leash corrections. The mother, the owner didn't help. But although we have dogs that they don't need a club to become obedient and fawning over the person.
I know.
So she's okay. So she's coming over, showing that positive reinforcement, in the form of petting, and she's more accepting of it, from him. Again, maybe because he's her capture. She feels trapped. We don't know exactly what's going on in her mind. But now Beckman has created a draw for his dog to come over and try to assert himself to say, this is my person.
Show you. You got...
Okay, so she was in the right to tell him off. So he tries to calm everything down by being playful.
It's okay.
Shake off, relieving stress.
I know. You want this off? I'll take it off.
Okay, so Prince wasn't actually necessarily dominating her the way I thought that he was going to. Ow, look at that rough handling.
Get off in a minute.
See, he's trying to rub the halter off. Wow, she
You're
has a
gonna get
big
it, dude.
yard. Oh my gosh,
She's
look at that yard.
Get it.
So it seems like her reactivity comes from barrier reactivity. When she's behind a fence, when she's on a leash, when she's behind a window or a doorway, when she actually meets the dogs, she's a lot more comfortable with them. Off leash, very common.
Window, a few things done. Coming in, a few things done. Meeting a dog, a few things done. If she goes and nips him, she's going to get whooped.
Well, she shouldn't. It's her own yard.
Does that?
Yeah.
I think she runs up and then she.
I know. Now she's good. Now she.
If she nips him and she gets whooped, that is Beckman's fault. That's why I would have both dogs on a muzzle, a basket muzzle on each dog conditioned to a basket muzzle to make sure that they're both comfortable and they're both safe.
Likes him. And now it's kind of like me hanging with her, talking to her. It's just relationship building stuff, like this time of seeing him, smelling him, seeing him run. This is all good stuff that will actually transfer to a new dog. I'm not saying she'll be perfect with a new dog, but
well, we don't worry about anyone being perfect.
She won't just be good to like black pointy-eared dogs. Is my point.
Thank you. Okay, right.
I'm whether it's 10% better with the next dog or 50, I don't know, but a friendship is a friendship.
Right.
In person and a good dog, all of this is recreatable. None of this is rocket science. I did not do anything extremely special today.
Right.
Stay right there. That's my point. I'd give her a couple barks.
Okay.
Let her express.
He didn't do anything extremely special, but he is extreme with his method in the way that he didn't show exactly what he did if she got out of hand other than telling the owner. He's smart enough to tell the owner to correct the dog because obviously if he corrected, she would bite him. For a dog who has bitten a person before, I don't know how hard the bite was because there's levels to a bite. A nip, if she nipped people before, that's different than a full-on bite where she punctures and leaves, a deep wound. So.
Herself. She's a dog. She's not a robot.
Mm-hmm.
Let her express herself.
But he acts like
And
they're
then if
robots.
we
He's
think
so
that it's
confusing. He's so
unacceptable, like the
wishy-washy.
person isn't creepy. He's not staring at her. It's an old lady. Like, what are you doing? It's an old lady, dude.
So she doesn't know and she doesn't
Knock
care.
on the door, please.
I'm gonna knock on the door.
One more time, please. Knock. No, you're good. Just the knock. We'll let that go. Oh, you're going to see Kiki? She's our friend.
So I would have worked on rewarding the dog. I wouldn't have the leash yet unless the dog was really comfortable with me. But even then, I would have the owner have the leash. And I would work on, the dog hears the knock from somebody else. And after her little bark, or no bark, if she's quiet, then I would toss her a treat. Or I would hand her a treat. And I would have the person knock again give them a treat, have them come in the doorway, stay in the doorway, and work with the dog, rewarding them for being able to look at the person and look away on their own. If I call the dog's name and they're able to look at me, they get a treat. If they look at the person, they look away, they get a treat. If they look at the person and they're quiet and they're not barking, give them a treat. So you can treat them for any behavior you want that is not barking or lunging or trying to bite or redirect on anybody. If that happens, then you're working too quick and the person needs to go back outside or move away from the door, and then we will reset. I wouldn't be walking the dog up to go say hello yet.
We love her.
Not in one session.
Yeah, that's our friend. Sit. Stay. Hi, Kiki.
I certainly would not be giving her any leash corrections. I wouldn't be giving her any verbal cues, or in his case, a command. I wouldn't be telling her to sit or stay. This is working way too quick. Again, we don't know what
Stay.
happened.
It's good to see you again.
We don't know if he
Yeah.
gave her a correction or if the other person gave a correction.
Sit. It's so good to see.
So this dog, again, I wonder, it doesn't seem like they were really that aggressive, because I've worked with dogs that I couldn't even touch the side of the door without the dog lunging at me. And it was a black Russian Terrier, a big, strong dog. And I got her over 8 sessions, from a dog who had bitten like 8 people. In about 8 sessions, we were able to turn her around, and to the point where, before I wouldn't bend down to tie my shoes with that dog around, because she was just, even with a muzzle on, she was just too scary at that point, but afterwards we were fine. I could pet her. She was okay. Great. But I'm not going to be sitting here and commanding this dog and yelling at this dog. So that tells me that this dog, if they really wanted to, if they're really that threatened and is as bad of a case as he's talking about, he wouldn't be able to hold the end of this leash. I'm not saying that the owner didn't say that the dog bit someone. I'm not saying the dog hasn't bitten someone, but a nip is different than a bite. And a lot of people will say the dog bit someone when the dog nipped at someone.
See you. I don't know you. I'm just acting like you're a new. She wants to do maybe one little bark from back there.
So there's a cut.
Maybe we'll
What
allow
happened
that.
there? Did he correct
Make
the dog?
sense? We're setting clear criteria for punishment lines. 3 barks. Hitting of this. 1.
So here, instead of waiting to correct the dog, I would be calling the dog and moving away. So if the dog is sitting there staring,
2.
I'm not going to sit there and let somebody bang on the door and then correct my dog. I'm going to have them knock once. I'm going to wait for the dog to say, hey, what's that? I will call their name, reward, have them knock again. And then over time, you can move up to several knocks in a row before you reward your dog, or, to desensitize your dog to that. But most of the time, I'm not going to be opening the door to someone who is like, bah, 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 kind of thing. So I don't blame my dog for barking for that.
Go say hi to Dan.
Okay.
I would rather reward her for that calm behavior. He doesn't. Once Beckman feels comfortable with a dog that's not going to bite him, then he just drops the reward altogether. Hi, baby girl. You're like right in the way.
How are you?
So I wouldn't answer the door with my dog there. I would have my dog on a leash and go to the end. Oh, baby girl. All right, sorry, Ellie got up on the counter, on the computer again. I would not be working this fast. I would have her go to the other end of the room and then, have her stay there, and I would work on entering or going and opening the door and letting the guests come in, or I would be over on the end of the room with her, rewarding her while I have the guests come in on their own.
Oh, get back. Sit.
Talk to Dan.
So here
Tell her
she
to
doesn't
ignore your
have
dog
a
and
leash
invite him
on.
in.
Yeah, just ignore Maggie. All right. Yep. Come on in.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Watch your dog,
All right.
Becca.
Stay right here.
Stay right here. Good.
Stay right here.
Jackpot. Let's do another jackpot.
Good, but you got to be careful when you're leaning over a dog like this, when you have a very tall person or even a shorter person and you're leaning over the dog. You don't want to set them off and you don't want to stare at them, because again, that is a lot of pressure. So I would either toss the treat away, which is usually what I do when I have a dog that's nervous or a dog that has a bite history. I would toss it away from them. I have no idea what Ellie's doing over there, but I know, baby girl. Or I would have them just drop it on the floor for the dog.
Oh my gosh, look at that. That is a lot of stuff. No petting, please. I know.
That's
I'm
good,
not
that's
sure.
good.
Do you know I am a dog trainer?
I can't.
Yeah, I'm a dog trainer. So I don't mean to talk to you like harshly. We're just trying to, no pets. We want just like wonderful, good chicken from people.
Reward from her.
And all
Reward
goodness,
her for
goodness,
that.
goodness. Whereas petting, she just doesn't want it. People want to do it, but like it's not great for her. This session was an
Although he petted her a lot earlier.
hour and a half, but a lot of that time was spent organizing people to come over. About 4 people came into the house, including my children. The dog met a new friend on his home turf.
So I don't think this dog is
dog
actually nearly as bad as
Saw
he claims
a new
that she
dog
is.
outside of his window, and for the
Okay.
first time
Reward.
left the window area. How is this achieved? It was from the process of the owner ingratiating themselves to the new person, which let the dog know this person is okay.
I think the main part of it was the punishment that you incorporated, as well as the positive reinforcement that actually the few times you did it is what really made the difference in the dog, and with the dog's training. So that's what I think of it. Actually not too terribly bad, for once. But let me know what you think of this video. If you like Beckman, then go support Beckman. If you like me, then any support, of course, is very much appreciated. I gotta go take care of Ellie because she's going crazy. But thank you again for watching. I do appreciate it. Go say howdy-do to your little critters. Say howdy-do for me. Give them some kind of love and they appreciate. And until next time, practice peace, patience, and positivity.